So we are here with the first of our two semifinal matches. This is Brad Nelson, the 2014 Players Champion, the 2011 World Champion. He'll be facing off against Eric Flickinger. Eric, both players on the black-green Delirium deck. Now Eric, as the 2-seed, actually gets to be on the play. But so far, Brad, on camera this weekend, he's been 9-0 in games. And I'd hate to say it, but 9-0 not close.
And play draw doesn't seem especially significant in this matchup. Very few of the games, none of them we've seen this weekend, have been decided by Grimflayer beatdowns. It's all been games that go relatively long.
And speaking of Grimflayers, neither player has one here on turn 2. Eric just making land drops. His first play is going to be a copy of Tireless Tracker. Now he did it on turn 3, so Brad gets to grasp that down before Eric makes any clues.
That was very aggressive trackering, I must say.
Maybe. If he has another, that would explain the play.
If he's planning on using all of his mana for the next few turns.
Brad, though, a 3-drop of his own. He's leaving that vessel for a later time. Looks like he has options of Tracker, Pilgrim's Eye, and Liliana. We'll see where he goes with this. He's talked to us before about just how important it is in this mirror match that you make every land drop.
Yes, so we've seen a number of games just taken down entirely by a turn 3 Liliana that ran away, got an emblem. Brad, he doesn't have a land hanging out in his hand. He's trying to make sure to keep up on land drops, so there's an incentive to go for Liliana, but if he does that, he's going to miss his land on the following turn without casting the Pilgrim's Eye, and he wants to be able to do that and maybe cast a removal spell on this turn.
Pilgrim. So clue there from Eric Flickinger. And it'll be Mindrak Demon turn 4 here from Brad. So now we need to start watching our Delirium counts, because as we move toward the Emrakul phase of the game. Brad mills over a Traverse the Ulfenvault, another one, a Grimflayer, and a Murder. So with instant, sorcery, and creature, his Delirium count is up to 3.
Artifact and enchantment both on the battlefield, one that he can sacrifice at will.
Second clue here from Flickinger. The Tireless Tracker did survive there, so he'll have those clues for a later time. Playing Mindrak Demon, he'll mill his own, and Eric, far more delirious than Brad. He had a creature in the graveyard and then mills into Artifact, Instant, Sorcery, Land. His Delirium count is up to 5.
So that'll cover the damage to himself from the demon and also build him towards Emrakul.
Yeah, 5 lands in play, 5 on Delirium. He's not too far. Each of these decks playing 1 copy of Emrakul in the main, but they do traverse the Ulfenvault for it.
And it looks like Brad is responding to his demon trigger by casting the Vessel so as to not take 4 points.
Yeah, there's that intervening clause, so that will add the enchantment to the graveyard. You see, he found his 1 copy of Emrakul, so he'll put that in the hand. Instant and Sorcery in the yard. He already had those ones, so he's still just at Delirium 4. He's got his Emrakul, which is more than Eric, but he is behind in the mana race. And behind on clues. This, right now, it seems like he's going to get to the Eldrazi second.
Assuming that Flickinger has access to 1, which shouldn't be too difficult to find.
And then Brad draws. So that was during upkeep.
If Brad has something like a Murder, I'd be very tempted to kill the Tireless Tracker here so it doesn't continue to generate advantage. With the Demon, you can have them bounce off each other, or even go for a double block with the Pilgrim's Eye. You'd be exposed to a Grasp of Darkness, but...
So for Brad, it's going to be a land. Debating here, he's got a Liliana and he's got a Pilgrim's Eye both. It's going to be Liliana. And it'll shrink down Mindrak Demon. He'll pass the turn. We go back to Eric Flickinger. He draws for the turn, plays a land, makes a clue. This is land 6, 5 card types in the graveyard. He will start by Ruinous Pathing the Liliana. Does add Planeswalker to Brad's graveyard, so a 5th card type. And then pass the turn with 2 lands up, just enough to crack a clue. We go back to Brad Nelson. Land 6 in hand on his side. He's got Delirium, he's got Ishkana. And as we've seen a lot of times in these mirrors, even though we have these plays, Mindrak Demon, Tireless Tracker making 3 clues, Ishkana, None of them seem all that important.
Yeah, there's a lot going on, but both players are still at 20. There's
Yeah.
no real other way to break through. It's frequently just getting the Emrakul, rocking the boat, messing up what your opponent has going on, and then going from there is how these games are decided.
You see Brad had the option to make Ishkana and Spiders, and instead he just plays Tracker and Land Drop. Both players really just want to keep hitting these lands. And on the end step, Flickinger sacrifices a land, or a clue to draw a card. So 5 card types in the yard for Flickinger, 6 lands in play. He's 2 off. Also, unlike Brad, we don't know if Eric has the Eldrazi in his hand yet.
Shouldn't take him terribly long to find it with all these clues he's generating.
Yeah, remember he can just find one of his copies of Traverse the Ulfen Vault. One's in the graveyard, but the other 3 still in the deck. So he'll go to work. He'll crack a clue. Tracker up to 5/4. And there's the Traverse.
It's a Vessel of Nascency.
Oh, okay, it's Vessel, so he'll pass. Actually, that's one of the card types he doesn't have. In case he didn't have the land, that'll help him get there.
It digs him deeper if he still needs the Emrakul as well.
Back to Brad Nelson. He's got the land drop again. He's got the Emrakul in hand. 5 in yard, 5 in hand. He is 3 off. Not a great way for Brad to get to Emrakul this turn. And he's got to be concerned with those clues, with that Vessel, that Eric is going to untap an Emrakul. That's it. The likelihood seems pretty high that he can put that together.
Right. Eric will be able to see quite a few cards. The Vessel plus a clue is just 5 cards already. Draw step is 6.
Well, and it's because Eric has, that Vessel will be his 6th card type in the graveyard, he actually, if you count Delirium, won't just have the exact 13 next turn. He'll have 14. So as long as he finds a Traverse, he'll be good to go.
Can't find that with the Vessel, but we'll have 2 draws to find it with the clue and a draw step.
Brad in his graveyard still missing Artifact and Land. These decks can get up to 7 different card types in their graveyard. Yeah, maybe Eric will help him. Brad will swing with a Pilgrim's Eye. Right, Derek goes to 19.
Yeah, Brad really wanted a block there.
I mean, you gotta give your opponent the chance, right?
So here's a funny thing. A couple turns ago, Brad uses Liliana to shrink down Eric's Mind Rack
I was
demon.
wondering this, yeah.
It didn't really matter. The demons didn't really do a lot. Brad could have just killed his own Pilgrim's Eye. He has 6 card types in his graveyard. He'd be going to 7. You'd be able to cast Emrakul this turn.
What a weird world we live in. You're not wrong, though.
Or actually 5 going to 6, I apologize. But that plus 7 lands, that would get him there.
So Brad plays a land, gets a clue. He plays Ishkana, gets 3 spiders. And now we go to Eric. He will crack Vessel. Then Grasp of Darkness down the Tireless Tracker. Now he's making that play instead of cracking a clue, which seems like it would be bad news for Brad Nelson.
Yeah, demonstrates that Flickinger already has a pretty good turn coming up here, and I have to imagine that that's Emrakul.
Yeah, Flickinger 6 different card types in graveyard, has everything except Planeswalker. 7 lands in play, going to 8, so a Traverse will do it. That's Traverse plus land. And he might not have it. He's cracking clues. Draws into Ishkana. Yeah, I do not think he has gotten, this is a big development. He's not gotten to Emrakul.
Yeah, if Brad's able to land the first Emrakul here, that's going to totally change the texture of this game.
Yeah, Grim Flare from Flickinger. Passes the turn, just 1 clue. Didn't even make a land drop. Oh, wow. So Brad is going to be the first player to Emrakul here. He has 7 lands and 5 card types. I guess he needs a basic land or an untapped land of some sort if he wants to make Emrakul first. Draws, I guess, does he have it? Both players were just going along so smoothly. No, Brad doesn't have the land either.
So it's going to be a couple more turns of this. Looks like Brad does have a Vessel and Aces. He has some ways to very likely set it up for next turn, and Flickinger has an opening to potentially have it on his turn.
I mean, if Flickinger didn't block the Pilgrim's Eye, that would be enough. Brad's 1 land short. And that seems like a far more fixable problem. Flickinger's problem is he just doesn't have the Emrakul yet.
Yes.
Brad's is that he's stuck on 12. A lot of other tools available for Brad Nelson. Grasp of Darkness, Grim Flayer. It doesn't feel like anything not named Emrakul matters, though.
No.
There's no Transgress the Mines in the main here. I guess Brad has 1 in his. 0 in Flickinger's deck.
Flickinger is the player who would need it.
Right, because it's already in Brad's hand.
Right.
So Brad will swing with the Flyers, Mindrak Demon and Pilgrim's Eye. In what scenario do you think this damage could matter? Does it exist?
Well, Brad has an Ishkana on the battlefield already.
I mean, let's say Brad just doesn't draw his land for a while. Eric doesn't find an Emrakul for a while. Does this decide the match?
If Eric can't produce an Emrakul or can't destroy the Ishkana, we might see just a bunch of Ishkana activations. That's a way that these games can progress.
Mindrak Demons block each other. Brad grasps down Eric's. Eric then in response murders Brad's.
And nothing happens. Brad's dies, Eric sticks around.
If that was going to be the play, I'm a little surprised that Brad goes for that grasp before damage instead of after.
Right.
Yeah, not that this really matters. We've talked about how these demons aren't doing anything. Brad plays a Grim Flayer, plays a Vessel of Nascency. He has 2 mana up, so presumably as long as one of the top 4 cards of his deck is a land, or if he just gets an artifact into the graveyard, he will be able to make Emrakul next turn.
One thing about that exchange is that the demons are so unlikely to matter. Murder could potentially kill a Tireless Tracker for Brad, and that is a card that actually could matter.
So that exchange might actually have benefited Brad?
Right.
That's so crazy. Flickinger will swing with Mindrak Demon.
And Brad could fairly easily just take 4 points here. He can certainly block with the Ishkana.
He'll just take 4. It might be what he wants to do is when he gets the Emrakul turn, he wants to make sure that he has lots of blockers so that he can make some great blocks on Eric's board.
Yep.
And he finds the basic forest. You see him take it immediately because that is going to be his 8th land in play, and he already has 5 card types in his graveyard.
Brad also doesn't want Eric to be able to take advantage of a Grasp of Darkness against his battlefield. He wants to just cast that when he's controlling Eric on his turn. Brad's going to give it a think. Eric hasn't been able to produce Emrakul. Maybe Brad can do something before he wants to go for it, but no real reason to wait.
And this is the promised end. It's Emrakul for Brad Nelson. See, he did manage to get a land into the graveyard there as well, so now 6 card types. He has an extra mana. So he can play Traverse alongside it looks like. And we'll see what he grabs. Noxious Gearhulk, that is a 1-of in his main deck. And he will control Eric's the next turn. So before that happens, Eric's going to go ahead and Grasp of Darkness down the Grim Flayer. And here is Eric's turn, played by Brad. He draws. Hand is a land, an Ishkana, and a Grim Flayer. We'll see just what damage Brad Nelson can do.
Nothing that Brad can really cast that is going to impact what Eric has going on. He can kill some of Eric's creatures in combat, get rid of this Tireless Tracker, get rid of this Ishkana as well, though Brad doesn't have a ton of bodies on the battlefield. It's just Emrakul, Ishkana, 3 Spiders, and Pilgrim's Eye. So he can't really deal with too many things. Notably, Brad does get to order blockers, so he can run the Tireless Tracker into the Emrakul and the Ishkana into Ishkana plus a couple Spiders, and he'll be able to eat the Ishkana that way.
And that's it looks like what Brad is lining up, so we'll check here just what he wants to do.
Eat another Spider as well by putting Spider Pilgrim's Eye on it. or whichever. One power creatures can be rearranged in any way.
So, looks like we have Emrakul on Tireless Tracker. 2 spiders, double blocking a spider. Mindrak Demon, Ishkana. I'm not sure if that second spider is joining in. I don't think so. That'd still only be 4 power, not enough to kill it.
I'm not sure what's going on with regard to the demon.
So, he'll have Eric swing. Flare, Spider. Oh, this is great. Brad's going to let the Flare hit him so that he can control Eric's next draw.
I like that.
And this is pretty great. So Brad's going to triple block the Mindrak Demon, but he gets to order the blockers. So he's going to order it 4 onto Ishkana, in the absolute worst way for Eric. And he's saying, hold on, you don't resolve the trigger, I resolve the trigger.
Brad could also potentially find something that he wants to cast on Flickinger's turn, sacrifice the clue, draw it, and cast it. So this Grim Player trigger is interesting.
The judge is saying this out. So what happened is that Eric wanted to reveal the top 3 cards and then just show them to Brad. How it actually works out is he shouldn't do that. Like, Eric doesn't actually get to see these cards because Brad's controlling the turn. So now Brad takes them. Emrakul is in the top 3. I don't think he's going to let him have that one.
Yeah, no way for it to come back from the graveyard. So we'll put that one in the bin.
It's a little tricky, though. I think Brad may have wanted to crack Eric's 1 clue before doing this play so that he could make sure that Eric doesn't have live draws. By binning the Emrakul here, he is allowing Grapple with the Past to be live.
If the top deck, when he cracked the clue, was just Emrakul, though.
Okay, that would have been... You're right, actually. That would have been really bad.
In fact, that is how it lies.
Okay, so if we play it my way, I lose the game?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, well... fair enough. Then I think Brad's on point here.
Right.
And now we pass back. Eric, in control of his own turn again, sees his 1 Emrakul in the graveyard.
So top deck this turn was Swamp. Brad left Pilgrim's Eye on top after that. Eric just has to find a way to survive this 13-13 for a minute and find his own. We saw Brad tutor for Noxious Gearhulk last turn, so he'll be able to destroy, say, the Ishkana and really mount a very strong offense here.
Here's the crew from Eric. He's going to make another Ishkana, 3 more Spiderlings. He's going to make another Grim Flare and play a land, but just pass back. He'll need to find the card Grapple with the Past if he wants to get that Emrakul back. Or he'll have to try to kill Emrakul in combat. That is a huge order.
And not nearly enough spiders are available for that job.
He's got 8 power worth of reach, so need a lot more.
I'm expecting Noxious Gearhulk to reduce that number to 5 any second here.
That's exactly what will happen. Brad gaining 5 off the Gearhulk trigger, swinging with the Eldrazi. The 13-13 trample, flying past the spiders, dropping Flickinger down to 5. And he will pass. Eric's going to need a grapple and need it this turn. Draws Pilgrim's Eye.
Brad left that one there for him. Not going to do too much here.
And that's really one of the great parts, right, is that Brad got to leave 2 blanks on the top of Eric's deck.
Eric has enough chump blockers to survive another Emrakul hit, but he loses a bunch of spiders and doesn't have much left going on after that happens.
So now after shuffling, Eric's going to crack the clue. Hoping to find some way to stay alive, but at least game 1, that's hard for him to do. He draws and plays a land, passes. So he actually has enough toughness worth of reach to survive 1 more Emrakul hit. Now, if Brad sends the entire team, I'm not sure he's surviving. He actually has 11 toughness, so a trample of 2 and an Ishkana activation of 3 does kill Eric.
Okay. Brad's just making sure that this seems like it's going to work. Maybe send some creatures on top of it. Alpha Strike plus activation, very likely to be lethal.
Yeah, so adding Noxious Gearhulk to the attack. And also Pilgrim's Eye. If Eric blocks Pilgrim's Eye, that's one fewer creature putting in front of Emrakul, because only blockers can do it.
Blocking Pilgrim's Eye over Emrakul actually loses him a life.
Brad swings the whole team. So game 1 goes to Brad Nelson. Black Green Delirium on the draw. He takes the game, and his streak of never losing in the feature match area continues. Not even a game.
Yeah. Couple losses on the day, but he did them off camera.
All right, players are going to go to the sideboard here. So a drawn-out affair. It turned very quickly. I think both players realized that this is just about Emrakul. The first person to get there wins.
Yep.
All right. Is that now? I know that's not how all the games play out, but my guess is, and maybe we'll look at their sideboards. That's how a lot of Emrakul is what a lot of this is about.
Yeah, very much what the matchup is about. You see both players have a second copy here. As we go down the list for Brad, we have 3 Natural State, 2 Deadweight, 2 Transgress the Mind, 2 Pick the Brain, 2 To the Slaughter, Tireless Tracker, an Ob Nixilis Reignited, his Emrakul, and a Kalitas. So basically what he's going to be doing, getting that second Emrakul in, get the Tireless Tracker in to play the kind of value game there, and then the discard spells, the Transgress the Minds, the Pick the Brains, to try to remove some of the bigger spells, even hitting their Ishkana and mounting an early offense is an avenue to victory, and exiling their Emrakul is certainly very important. And Ob Nixilis as the Planeswalker to draw some extra cards is very good. Can also kill Emrakul on the battlefield, one of few ways to actually remove it if you're able to actually come back from getting Mind-Slavered. On Flickinger's side, 2 Flying Tendrils, a Noxious Gearhulk, Appetite for the Unnatural, an Ob Nixilis of his own, a Nissel Vitaforce, a Tireless Tracker, an Emrakul, a To the Slaughter, 2 Natural State, 2 Transgressive Mind, 2 Pick the Brain. Basically the same cards coming in. Additional stuff he has is another Noxious Gearhulk that'll deal with some of the larger creatures here. It seems totally fine. And then he also has Nissel Vitaforce, another Planeswalker.
Yeah, it actually seems like Eric has more cards for this matchup. Just, the discard the heavy hitters. Maybe it's it's margins, right? He has 2 or 3 more than Brad. But that sort of thing can add up.
It can, if you're able to leverage them, get some early Planeswalker advantage. Nissa is both great at applying offense with those 5/5 lands, and also just more ways to rebuy stuff from your graveyard, for example, your Emrakuls.
All right, well, players are going to continue sideboarding for game 2. Eric's going to be on the play again. Now, recently, Star City Games, we got to announce the Grand Prix schedule and the Star City schedule coming for next year. The first Star City Grand Prix is coming up. This is in just under 2 months. It is the Legacy Grand Prix of the season. It's going to be mid-January in Louisville. I'm going to tell you all about it.
On January 6th through the 8th, make plans to be part of Magic the Gathering history when StarCityGames.com proudly presents Grand Prix Louisville. Register by December 9th for the Legacy format main event to compete for thousands of dollars in prizes and receive an exclusive playmat featuring Legacy staple and Kaladesh invention, Lotus Petal. Select the 3-day Infinite Challenge package to compete in all challenge events for one low price, while also walking away with the exclusive Lotus Petal playmat. All Friday challenges are also Grand Prix trials. Come out early and compete for buys in the main event and more chances to claim a Lotus Petal playmat. Prefer 100-card formats? Register for the Ultimate Commander package to play in 4 Commander on-demand events and take home a Commander vs. playmat and Ultimate Guard Flip and Tray deck case. And don't forget to come say hello to Grand Prix Louisville's many special guests, including cosplayer Christine Sprinkle and an artist alley full of fan favorites headlined by guest of honor Rob Alexander. Be part of Magic the Gathering history. Register for Grand Prix Louisville today.
Once again, that's January 14th and 15th. Grand Prix Louisville. Brad Nelson up a game despite on the draw. He did it last time. And I actually have an interesting one. We have seen when the Grim Flayers have mattered in this matchup, being on the play is quite good. But if everything they're doing is about hitting land drops and making Emrakul, is there possible you want to be on the draw?
It's certainly possible. I know in a lot of blue mirrors you want to be on the draw. It's a advantage of leveraging counter spells as long as there aren't any threats that are difficult to deal with that can come down early. Green and black mirrors seems much the same. I'd have to experiment with it specifically. There are a lot of creatures that can deal a lot of damage pretty quickly. Grim Player can get out of hand certainly very fast, and having the Grim Player on the play and being able to filter your draw on turn 2, that's likely a significant enough advantage for you to want to be on the play.
Yeah, an unanswered Grim Flare seems pretty great. I guess if you're on the play, if you're on the draw, you need a grasp. If you're on the play, you can use Liliana to answer your opponent's Grim Flare. So you have more chances.
Right. Yeah, I feel like this is probably a matchup where you want to be on the play, but I feel like the edge is so minor, you don't feel terrible about being on the draw.
The idea of Brad won game 1 and was on the draw, it's not really a panic. It's, okay, what? That was a game.
Yes.
There certainly are matchups. I think the white-blue versus black-green, when black-green's on the draw and wins game 1, that's a concern.
Yes. And if you want to talk about matchups where you want to be on the draw, we have on the other side of the semifinals, Bradley Hill's playing this Torrential Gearhulk Glimmer Genius matchup. You definitely take the draw if this deck mirror becomes popular.
Oh, the Jeskai control mirror?
Yeah, like we saw the Pro Tour finals from Pro Tour Kaladesh, Carlos Ramao versus Shota Yasuoka. Very much a draw first matchup.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, speaking of that match, Bradley Hill takes game 1 over Grant Christopher. The Jeskai control player rolls on. So, it may not be a totally delirious finals. They're looking Jeskai control 1 game away.
Torrential Gearhulk is so good. It's so good.
So it's a really big Snapcaster mage. It even pays for it for you too.
Yeah, and also brings along +4/+5.
You can't, but you can't. 3/5. Thank you. Let's not overstate how
Okay,
good
you're
it
right.
is.
You're right. Just +3/5.
It's like a Snapcaster mage riding a siege mastodon.
That really should have just been the art for the card.
I would have approved it. Then I would have understood why it's a 5/6.
Yeah, it seems like a missed opportunity for creative.
It's got to be a robot though, right?
It could be a robotic siege mastodon and a filigree-infused Tiago Chan.
The original Snapcaster mage already looks pretty close to that. See Brad going down to 6 cards here.
Yeah, he's got kind of like the Mega Man blaster thing going on.
Yeah, you could add some filigree to that. That probably would make it better.
Yeah.
Mentioning before, if it is the kind of matchup where you contemplate going on the draw, a mulligan could actually hurt pretty badly here.
Yeah,
if it is all about Emrakul.
Mulliganing does not feel particularly
that one, the Tiago Chan one, that one looks nothing like an Esper mage. Come on.
This one is just like a dancer.
I thought it was like a soccer player, kind of.
Sure.
This one, see this guy. See, look at that arm. You could pass on Esper.
Yeah, and if he didn't pass, he could just blast people.
Brad drawing 6 here. Not very many lands again. He's got some discard in 2 lands. He's going to keep, though.
Yeah, with things like Traverse, Vessel, Grapple, you can make your land drops even with land light hands.
Draw 1 there from Brad won't be too bad. It is a Vessel of Nascency. He'll start, though, on Hissing Quagmire. Turn 2, we see a Grim Flayer from Eric Flickinger. Talked a bit about how this can, on the play, be a very powerful start. We'll see if Brad has the kill spell for it. Swamp and pass. It does not look like he does.
I think he's just
Oh,
waiting.
I
think he's
yeah,
got
he's
it.
just waiting. All right, there's Grasp. Gotcha to think it was going to work.
Got his hopes up.
Good thing deck lists are public. That way he knew that he didn't have to play on Blossoming Defense. Eric, just a tap land and a pass for Brad Nelson. He will play a Vessel and pass. Leaving up the mana to crack Vessel. Eric Flickinger will be the first person to activate that Vessel of Nascency. And this is an interesting one. 3 Lilianas and a Pilgrim's Eye.
You have to really not want Liliana to take that Pilgrim's Eye.
So he will go ahead and take one of the Lilianas. It adds Artifact and Planeswalker, though, to his graveyard. So he's now up to a Delirium count of 4. Plays the Liliana. Brad activates his, takes a land, bins Pick the Brain, a land, and a Traverse the Ulfin Vault.
Yeah, Brad had somehow even fewer options than Eric did.
Brad's Delirium count right now just 3. Land, sorcery, instant. Brad now will fire off Transgress the Mind. What's been neat here is Brad has had this Transgress for the whole game.
I think underneath the glare we have a pair of Emrakul the Promised End. And
Yeah.
Ruinous Path and To the Slaughter as the other cards.
Brad wishes this were a Pick the Brain right now.
Right. Yeah, the Pick the Brain that's in his graveyard from that Vessel, maybe.
He does have 2 copies on the sideboard, but yeah, he'll get one of. The question I guess is it when there's 2 Emrakul's, is it correct to take one anymore?
If you have another route, Brad there
Yes.
jokingly putting the pick the brain
Yeah.
towards the top of his
That'd
deck.
be great.
Yeah, if he had another transgress and was able to get rid of the Emrakul, you know, the first Emrakul often deals the damage, right?
Right. Yeah. So it's like, if he doesn't think he can get the second Emrakul in time, he might want to leave them both and hope to draw pick the brain. You know, maybe make the other fight, right? You take something like Ruinous Path and something like To the Slaughter, and you say, well, you got to hit your lands now. Maybe I'll try to aggro you.
Yeah, and the thing about the rest of the hand, it's a little bit redundant too, but if he has multiple threats, he can get through one removal spell.
Brad takes To the Slaughter, leaving Eric Flickinger with double Emrakul. All right. Liliana will -2, puts Hissing Quagmire and Forest into his graveyard. That's his 5th card type. Brings back Pilgrim's Eye. You can see what Eric Flickinger's up to. Now that does actually move him 1 down the Delirium chain until he manages to get the Pilgrim's Eye gone again.
Yeah, which he could easily just kill with his own Liliana if he were so inclined.
Brad, end step, grapples, gets a land. His Delirium not going particularly well here, only at 3. Yeah, so Liliana's still in play. You see with that -2, Flickinger not really trying to make an emblem here, really just building up toward these Emrakuls he has in his hand.
Yeah, his hand, 2 Emrakuls and a Ruinous Path that we know about. He just needs to make land drops, otherwise the hand's not doing anything.
Delirium is at 4. The Pilgrim's Eye is number 5. It's in play. And Brad will play Ishkana, Graph Widow, but does he? Yeah, he has instant enchant. Okay, Vessel's there, so he's got 4 card types, so he gets the spiders to go with it.
This will allow him to take this Liliana down a notch, or 2 or 3 notches, put it in the graveyard.
And so we'll see if it is the match only about Emrakul or just sometimes about Emrakul. Brad certainly looks to be ahead on the non-Emrakul front. Land the draw for Flickinger. So that's land 6. He will go ahead and sacrifice the Liliana. Mills Grasp of Darkness and traverse the Ulfenvault.
Yeah, now he gets to pick up that Grimflayer. He can Grimflayer and Kill Spell on this turn.
Yeah, what's really important here is that Sorcery and Instant were the 2 card types he was missing. So now he's got 6 card types in the graveyard and that Pilgrim's Eye in play. So you see him play out Grimflayer and Liliana. His 3 cards in hand are 2 Emrakuls and a Ruinous Path. But if Liliana, he can kill his own Pilgrim's Eye, and he is set. He has 7 card types, 6 lands.
Brad needs to top deck that second pick the brain here.
But why wouldn't that be big? You do what he draws, it's a black card. I think it's Liliana. I don't think he actually just did it. Yeah, it's a copy of the Planeswalker. And he's about to be Emrakul. Maybe even twice.
I think once kind of seals this game, but the fact that there's a backup in case things go wrong is not a good feeling.
No, not at all. I mean, yeah, we'll see what Brad can do here. He doesn't have the land drop either. Looks like he has another. He has the Liliana. He's got another Vessel, a Mind Rack Demon, and a Traverse. These are all great cards. He's got to think because he knows his next turn, Eric's going to be playing it. So if there's any card that can really destroy him, he's got to get that out of his hand now.
Yep.
Assume that later on he'll figure out a way to take care of the Emrakul. I'm not, that's tall order, but you have to assume that one.
Right. If he can't, he's just going to lose. So.
Okay. So in a world where he kills the Emrakul.
And the second Emrakul.
We'll start with one. We'll say he top decks Ob Nixilis, right? All right.
Okay.
Top decks Ob Nixilis. What does he not want to have? Now he's got to play as though that's going to happen.
Yeah, frequently, one of the steps you take in playing your opponent's turn with Emrakul is putting their Liliana down to 1 loyalty, so they can't do anything with it. So there's certainly an argument for getting that out on the battlefield on 4.
True. One of the things. Oh, you mean Brad plays his own Liliana?
Right.
Sure. He's going to traverse for Noxious Gearhulk. Okay. And that's neat because that's a card that can both, that's better than Omnixus because look at this. It's a card that can kill Emrakul. And importantly, Brad actually doesn't yet have the land to cast it. So he's hoping is that on the Mindslaver turn, the one that Emrakul plays, he doesn't draw a land. So Eric can't cast it. Then on the next turn, Brad, haha, draws the land, kills Emrakul. I mean, okay, so some stuff has to go right, but that's a plan.
I like it. I mean, I don't like the position.
I think only, it's like probably not going to work.
I like the play.
And there's a play. Eric gets his 7th card type in the graveyard by killing his Pilgrim's Eye, casts Emrakul, controls Brad turn, don't draw land, but he does!
No.
Oh, do you see it? Brad out his... oh, everything was going so well. And then Gearhulk kills the spider. He had a shot. And now all the creatures will swing, and they're just going to make these horrible attacks, and they all die. Brad's left with 2 spiders and the Gearhulk. Gets to take his own turn. You suppose he can swing with the Gearhulk and attempt to buy it back with Liliana. Were there not the second Emrakul in Eric's hand, it might work. I really like, though, let's go back to that line where Brad was playing to miss his own land drop and then selectively hit it. The ability for him to find that line and then go to it, that's really neat.
Yeah. I don't think that it covers the second Emrakul, but it gets through this turn, and it's unclear what he can really do to beat the second Emrakul anyway. So step 1, figure out how to beat the first one. So I like the line for that reason.
Gearhulk's now in the graveyard for Brad. That does actually increase his card type count. That is a artifact. 6 lands in play. That puts him... We could get a card type check on Brad. I think he's closer to Emrakul of his own. He could play... If he's close enough, he could try to play to top decking his own Emrakul. Here's Liliana. She's on 3 loyalty. Plus to 4. Okay. Vessel of Nations. Yeah, Brad actually has 6 card types in his graveyard and 6 lands in play. So that idea that we were going to draw to our own Emrakul, that's not out of reach.
On this turn, given that the Liliana is access to Noxious Gearhulk, presumably Eric is either going to be attacking it outright or just casting the second Emrakul.
Well, he's going to go ahead and, it looks like he's attacking Brad, and he's going to, I think he has to play the second Emrakul then.
You can also just plan on Emrakuling after the Gearhulk's in play too.
Well, he could. There is this worry if he does that Brad vessels into an Emrakul, plays land, and hits him back. This is not done. Ruinous Path hits Liliana.
Okay.
That might be the 7th card type, though, for Brad. I believe he has all of them now.
Okay.
So all he needs to do is vessel into this Emrakul, and things are fine.
Well, the first Emrakul is handled.
Okay.
Liliana's on 6.
He's not dead.
There's a second Emrakul.
He will grapple with the past.
Fine is strong.
And Emrakul in the top 3. We're still playing. Yeah, he's gonna. We're gonna let's make sure he's at the 7 Delirium. He's got the artifact with the Gearhulk that was killed. He's got the Liliana that was just killed. We have a land. We have an enchantment. We have an instant. We have a sorcery. We got I think we have 1 creature that's not Emrakul, right? Oh yeah, Gearhulk.
Gearhulk's creature.
Yeah, that's 7. 6 lands in play. You know, we were talking about this match like it was first Emrakul wins. Brad showing that there's far more to it than that.
He's got some fight in him. That's why they board in a second copy, I suppose.
Yeah, he gets to control Eric's turns back now. This is great. Brad's not going to lose a game all day on camera. Just
well, that's strong. That's strong. Slow your roll a little bit.
Okay. I mean, you know, and that's what happens, right? You watch him win so many times that you just say, "Oh no, you can tell that he's on a line, that he knows what's going on, and you just start thinking, this guy never loses. Like, I don't even know what he's going to do, but I'm like, oh, I don't even know how this is going to play out, but this is over. You know, Brad knows. And that's the problem, is that I don't know, you don't know, Eric doesn't know, but he does. And now we're just going to watch it happen.
And now Brad has the ability to get Legend Rule the second copy, attack the first into his Emrakul. He needs something to deal with this Liliana. His pickup was a ruinous path, but Eric will be able to have his own turn where he could use the Liliana to get back an Emrakul.
Okay. Sure, so this is Eric's first turn. This is Brad is controlling it. I mean, Liliana can
I
shrink.
suppose Brad actually gets to keep his Emrakul because he can shrink Eric's and then attack into it.
So yeah, Brad can make Eric cast second Emrakul, have it legend rule itself away.
Well, the problem with shrinking Eric's is you leave the Liliana in 7 loyalty, so that's probably not. That's probably a non-starter.
I mean, you do get rid of both Emrakuls. Maybe it's fine. Brad's gonna has a different plan though. He's gonna -2 the Liliana. Where he could have, if he wanted to get rid of both Emrakuls, it was possible. But you're right. Then he leaves the Liliana, and then Eric just, you're right. He just -2s and buys back another Emrakul. So then Brad's gonna cast the second Eldrazi. And it's going to legend rule itself away. So, but it was cast. Trigger was going to happen.
Oh, Brad actually gets to keep his Emrakul by
Yeah.
ordering Spider as
wow.
the blocker that soaks up the damage.
He double blocks the Emrakul and Spider, and then he orders the blockers in a really dumb way. And then Eric loses the Eldrazi. Okay, so now we're back to Eric's turn. This one he gets to play on his own. Draws. He's going to just, I assume, yeah, has to -2 the Liliana and just cast another Emrakul.
That's what this is, a game of Emrakuls.
So he'll go ahead and make a play. But Eric does not have a Spider. That play we saw where Brad didn't trade the Eldrazi, Eric can't do that.
No. Brad does still have Ruinous Path in hand, though, and he can just kill Brad's Emrakul with that.
All right. All right, so Brad's got more work to do. I got it. Eric is going to control Brad's turns now.
I think they're really determining whose turn comes next, what kind of turn order they have with all these Emrakul triggers. That seems to be the discussion that's happening here.
Okay, so what happened is that Eric already had one Emrakul trigger work when Brad made him legend rule his own Emrakul, and then Eric cast another one. So we're going to get Emrakul on the screen here, and we're going to let you know the judge's ruling here. So basically, Eric on his cast an Emrakul and then cast another Emrakul. So he gained control of target opponent during that player's next turn. After that, that player takes an extra turn. So we'll confirm how this one works with the judge here.
Emrakul, the promised confusion. That's more Kozilek's job.
I feel like Commander players everywhere know how this one works. It's like, oh, yeah, this happens all the time in Commander. We just, yeah, there's like 7 Emrakul triggers waiting to happen. Our board states get significantly weirder in that format.
Yes. I can't keep up with a game of Commander. I don't have the patience for it.
I think my favorite games are the ones where no one playing the game can keep up with it, and then
everyone just starts like texting and talking to people in the other room.
It's like, what if I play Emrakul, but there's a time sifter in play? Then whose turn controls goes next? It's like, I don't know. Hold on. I got this L2 friend. I think I can go. I'm texting him.
You guys want to go play disc golf?
I was like, no, I know how to do this one. Hold on. And then it's just...
I believe you. Sun's setting. We're losing daylight.
Like, what if I sculpting steel the time sifter? Then he's like, stop.
Oh, God.
We can just keep messing it up.
I am so disgusted right now.
Like, no one knows how this works. So...
I engineered a bizarre situation so that I could potentially confuse my judge friends. You won't believe what happens next.
All right, so players are acting with this is L3 judge John Temple. We have the head judge of the tournament clarifying how this one's going to go. We will let you know as he explains the ruling. So basically what has happened here is Brad casts an Emrakul. So Eric gets 2 turns. On the first turn, Brad casts an Eric's Emrakul. So Eric casts Emrakul. Then Eric casts... So Eric played 2 consecutive turns because of the Emrakul, right?
Yeah.
On the first of his 2 turns, Eric cast Emrakul. Brad was controlling it, but that doesn't really matter. Right. Eric cast Emrakul. On the second turns, Eric cast another Emrakul. So now what?
Seems to me that Brad gets some turns.
Yeah, so how, is it, I could see anywhere from 2 to 3 to 4. There's like, I will admit offhand, this is why we have judges for these things.
Extra turn.
Yeah.
It seems to layer it that way is both
Well, because Emrakul reads.
I imagine that the resolution is 2 turns controlled by Eric, then 2 turns controlled by Brad. We'll find out. We're hearing this right now.
So this is something which works in Brad's favor. So Emrakul's trigger reads, you control target player's next turn. After that, they get an extra turn. So that happened the first time.
Yeah, because a controlled turn is not an extra turn.
It's kind of like you put 2 mind controls on the same creature.
Yes.
So in the second Emrakul resolved, Eric took control of Brad's next turn, a turn he already had. So,
yes.
So that part doesn't really do anything. Eric double controls Brad's next turn. But the part of he gets an extra turn, that still happens. So what happens is Brad will be playing 3 consecutive turns. Eric controls the first one. In fact, he controls it twice. And then Brad's going to play 2 extra turns.
Nice.
So the second Emrakul trigger is actually really bad, it turns out.
Right, you're just giving away a time walk.
Yes. So we are on the first turn here. We had some trading of Emrakuls. This is Brad's first. Eric on his own turn traded off the Emrakuls. This is.
So this is the first turn that Brad controls since that happened. Brad going for an Liliana here, gets back an Emrakul.
So that was Brad's second bonus turn. Liliana getting back Emrakul. So Brad played 3 turns there. Eric played 1, then Brad played 2. We are back to normal turns, the way they were meant to be,
for
alternating.
Now. For now.
Until Brad casts this other Emrakul, so it's going to be Tireless Tracker and Clue from Eric Flickinger. Grim Flayer swings at Liliana. Brad does not have cards in hand. He can't stop this.
He has an Emrakul in hand.
Yeah, that's
nothing he can do about this.
All right. Liliana's gone. But another Eldrazi looms. Maybe even on both sides. Eric's going to -2 the Liliana. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, it's the promised end. Again. Okay, so this is a Brad turn. Eric's playing it. Draws a card. He has an Emrakul and a land. Nothing else. You can't really mess this one up. It's like the reverse Elvish Visionary, right? It's just like, yeah, you drew him a card. But he got a 13-13. He probably needed one.
Yes.
Tireless Tracker will suicide itself into Emrakul.
And then Brad will cast an Emrakul on his regular turn.
So now it's Brad's regular turn. This deck's great. This deck's mirror matches are great.
Yeah, this is fun. I'm having fun.
I like using the stack to determine whose turn it is next. Hold on. Let me look at the list.
I think that Emrakul the Promised End, it was actually in Richard Garfield's initial design files. They actually just dusted this one off and put it into Eldritch Moon.
So I actually, to be fair, the Mindslaver effect is really brutal and not very fun. I think what they've done with the design of Emrakul the Promised End is really neat. It's a really good fix for it. The issue is that when this happens, it's just, I don't even know. All right, so we go back to Eric's turn. It is a Traverse the Ulfenvault that he draws, but Brad controls it. And this is actually a horrible draw if you're an Eric Flickinger fan.
Yeah, Brad is presumably there's a
is there a Gear Hulk?
Then Brad can find, can kill the Emrakul. He can cast it and fail to find, once he starts searching.
Sure, so he gets to play it, right? That's easy.
Yes, right.
All right. So Traverse was the draw. What will Brad go get? 1, 2, counts up the lands. Eric's at 20, Brad's at 12. Brad actually needs to make sure that he doesn't die on the swing back, but he's going to go ahead and Traverse. Right, if he gets Gear Hulk, let's hold on here. He is only at 12.
Well, he's
going to have to get it.
He's not in good a position against the Emrakul, right?
Maybe there's no other card to use. Yeah. So he's going to go and get Eric's Gear Hulk, cast it, choose Eric's own Emrakul as the target. So Eric's Emrakul dies. Eric goes to 33. And Brad passes. Eric's back to his own turn. But Brad actually can't block the Menace creature, right?
Nope.
Okay, so wait. Before it passed, Tireless Tracker is going to make a really poor attack into the Emrakul. Got it.
Yep. And the tracker is kind of guaranteed value if lands show up, so that's more valuable than the Grim Flayer.
But hold on here. Emrakul's a 13-13, and Eric's a 33. That's a 3-turn clock.
Yep.
Noxious Gear Hulk plus some of these creature lands and that Grim Flare, that's probably a 2-turn clock.
Yeah. Brad needs an answer to that Gear Hulk.
He is the last Emrakul standing, but I'm not sure if that's good enough. Vessel of Nascency, the draw for Eric. So, sure, let's see what he'll get. 4 cards. Land, 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 and Grim Flare. I was hoping for another Emrakul, personally.
Well, he's already gone through both of his Emrakuls, so that would be surprising. That would actually be what Brad wants to see. Because it would be a deck registration error.
Maybe like a Gravedigger style card. Get back that Emrakul. Keep going.
This is the same game where he flipped over 3 Lilianas to the same vessel, right?
Yes. And a Grim Flare from Eric. He does not swing with Noxious Gear Hulk.
Okay, perhaps not understanding that the
It
card
does have
has
menace. That's something you can always forget, right? The Gear Hulks, they all have like this big activated ability. You forget that each of them just has a single keyword.
Right.
So blue is Flash, red is First Strike, green's Trample, black's Menace,
white's Vigilance.
Right. So that Menace actually mattered here. That was 5 points of damage. Actually, 5 pretty relevant points of damage.
And it looks like a Grasp of Darkness in Brad's hand.
He will not give Eric such an opportunity again.
And given the way that the math shades out, the fact that Eric will be able to control his draws if he connects with Grim Flayers, Brad likely just has to sit back until he can produce something like an Ishkana.
Well, we'll see. Brad drew Traverse the Oafen Vault here. He's going to go ahead and use it. You see he checks his graveyard to find out just what cards are left in his deck. We're going to do the same.
He went through a Noxious Gear Hulk. I want to say that he just has 1. And looks like Brad did produce Ishkana here.
All right, so he's going to go ahead and get that in the Spiders. That's great against Noxious Gear Hulk.
Doesn't have the mana to cast this and leave up Grasp of Darkness here, so there's a good chance he just sits back for now.
Yeah, I mean, you have to look at how much damage he would take on a potential attack, especially when Flickinger has creature lands.
Yes.
Flickinger says that Ishkana's great, but you're going to have to pay for it.
Yeah, it's not a free one.
No, Traverse is, if you have Delirium, you search for any creature and just put it onto the battlefield.
That's a pretty strong card.
Yeah.
I thought it was good when you had to pay mana for the creature.
Well, I think it's if you have 7 different card types, you get to do that.
Oh, yeah, just keep scaling.
Yeah. Brad pays 5 anyway, though. He must not know that mode. It is a Vessel for Eric, a pretty good draw. That could find him something. Murder, Pick the Brain, Land, Ishkana. Hey, the 4th one's going to be a hit.
Well, Brad's
He's
at
got
12, so
yeah.
Eric's Ishkana is much more threatening.
Yeah, 3 Spiderlings come along with that one. All right. 3-turn clock for Flickinger.
And that Grasp for Brad's not enough to deal with Ishkana.
How about another black spell? He drew 1 here. I think it might be To the Slaughter. That's bad now. There was a time and place for that card.
It is not now.
It's not now.
It's not the future.
Well, Emrakul's going to try to even things up. The 13-13 Flying Trample will swing across. Eric down to 20. Remember, he gained 13 off a Gear Hulk on his own Emrakul.
Love the phrase down to 20.
Some updates here. On the other side of the bracket, it will not be a Delirium Finals. 2-0. Bradley Hill on Jeskai Control wins his 4th straight match. The number 4 seed is into the finals, where he awaits the winner of this match.
All right.
Pick the Brain, the draw from Eric Flickinger. And is Brad going to cast his card?
Yeah, it seems like a good idea to cast his spell.
Okay, there's some kill spells.
Yeah, and it is, in fact, To the Slaughter, Grasp of Darkness. So.
Yeah, not exciting. To the Slaughter. What will you sacrifice? He says. Spider is the answer. Okay, yep.
Minor misstep there by Eric. He could have activated the Ishkana in response.
Yeah, and then Brad will Grasp of Darkness down the Gear Hulk. Yeah, so that's actually a pretty reasonable mistake because of where life totals are. Eric just passes the turn. A draw here from Brad Nelson.
So had that activation happened, Brad would be going down to 8 here, whereas if it happens now, it brings Brad to 9.
Yeah, there are a couple things. There's that activation. There's also the missed attack on Noxious Gear Hulk,
Right,
and that's 5.
Right, Brad could be at 3 life, and Eric could be tapping and winning the game with these 3 spiders.
Yeah, and instead he's at 7, takes another 13 off this Emrakul, the Promised End. And I do not sure that this race favors Eric anymore. There's 7 lands in play and an Ishkana for Brad. This is... If Eric does not win this turn, this game is done.
Yeah.
Brad down to 9 on an Ishkana activation.
He needs to, like, grapple Emrakul now.
A draw here for Flickinger. A draw. It's not grapple, but how about traverse?
Can't find Emrakul.
What does he have left? Is there anything?
Does he have,
We'll see.
Oh no, he just the sideboard Gear Hulk is his only Gear Hulk.
Yeah, he only has one. Looks through the deck. I don't know that he has another. It's Ishkana. That does not do it.
Nope.
Brad is gonna look at that. Yeah, if he found it, it's Brad has 7 mana and 4 spiders. End step, activate, untap, activate.
Yep. And can't imagine Brad's gonna miss that one.
He has not missed much this match,
No.
and I don't think he's gonna start with that play. I guess what Eric's going to see is, can he force on attacks enough chump blocks that Brad has to give away some spiders so that that play does not work. If he gets Brad to give away 2 spiders, Brad cannot win on activations alone. Now Eric will still have to put some toughness in front of Emrakul, but maybe. Right, Ishkana is 11 power or 11 toughness worth of blockers, so yeah, it's close. And that is what he is looking at now. He needs to force so many of these off.
And if you look at the clock here, you know, we're approaching 1 hour of play. They've been playing these decks all weekend. It's very mentally taxing. It's not surprising to see Eric miss these small things, that menace, that activation of Ishkana. They do add up, though.
Well, in the match that's gone around, focused on a game that's so many Emrakul triggers, so much just haymakers and such, you don't think that, like, 1 point of missed damage is what's going to matter. You think it's board control. You know, it's not this race.
Right. It's been so many macro things, the small details. They don't feel like they matter.
Flickinger leaves back 1 spider, so that if need be, he will have 13 toughness worth of blockers. But that's still actually not enough. Because, okay, so what happens here? Brad stays alive. He gets rid of all his spiders, but leaves Ishkana, right? Drains Eric to 3.
Yep.
Swings Ishkana and Emrakul. Eric will have 11 toughness worth of blockers, or 13. So if he puts it all in front of Emrakul, Ishkana deals 3. Can't do that.
Gotta switch one over. Gotta switch one over.
When you switch one over, trample for 2, Brad activates Ishkana for the last point. So it's lethal. Eric realizes this, and now he brings back a 2nd spider because he knows he needs 2 spiders to not die. And here's the block for Brad. He's looking at this. Now, what Brad can do here is, if that 1 spider, the one that's chump blocking the Ishkana, don't do that chump block. Let the 3 damage through. If he does that, Brad wins.
Well, he can even go down to 5 here, and Ishkana activation is only good for 3 points of damage.
Oh, so with this attack, yeah, makes the block here on the table. He goes to 5. This is easier, right? Activate for 4, untap, activate for 3.
Right.
Okay, that's let's back it up. Brad blocks here, activates Eric Flickinger down to 3. Brad's gonna take 4.
And ordering the top of the deck with a flare, that doesn't matter. Brad's intending to win on his turn.
Yeah, I don't think there's any card draw on Flickinger's hand.
He cast his hand. It was the top deck traverse for Ishkana, so he's got Ishkana as what he has here.
Brad says untap, activate, and that is the game. Brad Nelson putting on a clinic of each stage of the Delirium game. You know, when it's Eric had 2 Emrakuls to Brad's 0, that's where I got off the train and said, I don't know how this works. I think Brad's supposed to lose here, but
it was the first Emrakul too.
Right.